just want the police department, the sheriff's department, people matter. You may have looked at my daughter and think she didn't matter. She matters. These are human beings.
Tonight, Jordan Ferchow's family is speaking publicly about her death following her arrest and booking into the Washington County Jail.
They say they are not rushing to judgment, but they want to know step by step what happened inside the jail. Thanks for joining us for your 5 News at 6, on air and streaming on 5 News Plus. I'm Darren Bobb.
And I'm Morgan Wrigley. Arkansas State Police say 36-year-old Jordan Ferchow showed signs of possible drug ingestion and was taken to the hospital where medical staff pronounced her dead.
Tonight, Jordan's family is asking for a complete timeline of her final hours, while also remembering Jordan as a mother, a veteran, and someone who spent her life helping others. 5 News reporter Bo Russell has the story.
As Arkansas State Police investigates an incident that ended in the death of 36-year-old Jordan Ferchow here at the Washington County Detention Center, Jordan's family is grieving, remembering, and searching for answers.
It was taken, her and Griffin on the bridge when she was pregnant.
Before Jordan Ferchow became the subject of an ASP death investigation, she was a wife, a daughter, a sister, and a mother.
Jordan was larger than life. She would literally give you the shirt off her back to her own detriment.
Her family doesn't hide that Jordan struggled with addiction, but her mother, Denise, says those struggles were only one part of who her daughter was.
She was a beautiful young lady with a huge, huge heart. So you can be a drug addict and you can be two things at once.
She was also the mother of a 5-year-old son.
She loved her child, and he's asking for her.
Ferchow was arrested July 14th and booked into the Washington County Detention Center after midnight. Arkansas State Police says she later showed signs of possible drug ingestion and was transported by EMS to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. But Denise says Jordan's husband was initially told she died at the jail. They're now asking for a complete timeline of events, what medical treatment she received, and what condition she was in when leaving the jail for the hospital.
I hope they didn't neglect my daughter. I hope that they did what was right. That is what I am hoping. So I'm not saying all bad them. And I'd like to think they did the right thing.
Denise says she doesn't want to jump to conclusions, but her grief is heavy.
That's what I want to know, if they could have helped her.
She says they're also speaking now because they don't want Jordan to be remembered only for her addiction or her arrest.
You may have looked at my daughter and think she didn't matter. She matters. These are human beings.
In Fayetteville, covering news where you live, I'm Bo Russell, 5 News.
Sheriff's office says it is not able to comment on this case. They did say, though, they are conducting their own internal investigation. The U.S. Justice Department tracks the deaths of all people in custody across the country. Their most recent released numbers for 2024 show more than 6,000 American inmates died in custody that year. More than half were for natural causes. DOJ reports lists 750 instances where use of force by law enforcement officers resulted in the death of an inmate. Suicide is the next leading cause at 614, followed by accidents and homicides.
Developing today, we're learning that a man has been arrested on burglary and voyeurism charges connected to an incident at a Planet Fitness in Rogers. Police say Corey Hill climbed into the gym's ceiling so that he could spy on a woman using a tanning bed. Court documents say an employee and a customer later found Hill naked as he climbed down through an opening in the ceiling. This happened in May at the Planet Fitness location on Dixieland Road. Investigators say Hill entered the gym for a red light therapy session and then stayed beyond his allotted time. Hill admitted to police that he was inside the ceiling, but told them he was investigating a noise he heard in the attic. Rogers police say officers later determined that explanation was not consistent with observations made by witnesses. Hill was released from custody yesterday on a $25,000 bond.
Take a look at these pictures posted by Magazine. Police in Logan County after storms rolling through knocked down some trees and some power lines there.
Now, those storms were not severe, but they were strong. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Scott Covert with the latest on these spotty storms and maybe a little bit of relief from this intense heat.
For those folks that are lucky enough to see some of these heavy downpours this evening, yeah, it feels a little bit better. Live radar right now continues to show widely scattered showers And at times you have a fair amount of lightning, thus you're hearing some rolling thunder. Now, nothing severe, no active warnings, but as we just saw in magazine, it doesn't have to necessarily meet that severe weather threshold to cause a little bit of damage. Saw a tree was hit by lightning at the middle school in Altus, also causing a little bit of damage there to that tree. Now, Johnson County is getting walloped right now with the big heavy downpour. We've noticed one that really moved right over Fort Smith, and it didn't move much at all, picking up a little bit of needed rainfall. Cooling is down as well. That shower, as it continues to gradually meander towards the west into parts of Bacola, Shady Point, that's largely fizzling out. Now, this shower in Johnson County producing some moderate to heavy rain near Ludwig. You get up towards Oark, there's a lot of lightning. You're hearing the thunder. Meanwhile, it's a little bit more quiet in northwest Arkansas. We had a fair share of showers and storms roll through earlier. Atmosphere a bit more stable now, with the exception of Delaware and Adair County. A couple of these little showers continuing. As for the rest of the evening, we'll continue with the chance through about the 11 o'clock hour. I do think we'll get a bit of a break, but tomorrow we'll have some additional opportunities for some more showers, maybe a couple more thunderstorms as well. Temperature-wise, it's going to be hot tomorrow, even hotter Friday, but there's big changes this weekend. I got to tell you, if you don't have weekend plans, I'm going to spend my full 3-minute weathercast trying to convince you that this weekend is a good one to be outside.
Thank you, Scott. In continuing coverage, Officer Kyle Newman of the Fort Smith Police Department is publicly thanking the community for their support.
Yeah, this is Congressman Steve Womack honored Newman for his service and sacrifice. 5 News reporter Jada Daniels got to speak with Newman and his family about his ongoing recovery.
2 months after being shot in the line of duty, Officer Kyle Newman returned to the department today, not in uniform, but to be honored. Surrounded by his family, he was recognized as a hero and a walking miracle.
For Officer Newman and his family being here, and God, what an incredible thing this is, a miracle that's taken place.
It was a day of gratitude at the Fort Smith Police Department as Officer Kyle Newman was honored for his courage. For the first time since the May incident, Newman took the podium, not about what happened that night, but about the support he received along the way.
Thank all the police officers, the EMS personnel, and hospital staff that saved my life that night. It's an honor and a privilege to serve with each and every one of you. Thank you all for being here today. It truly means the most to my family.
The support has carried the Newman family through the past 2 months. His wife Raquel by his side, grateful for the outpour of love from around the world.
Received blankets and letters and prayers. I mean, it's just been amazing. He's a walking miracle, truly, and it truly brings to light the true sacrifice that they all make.
Representative Steve Womack said Newman's story is a reminder of the risks first responders face every day.
And they do so knowing that on every single encounter, there is no promise that it's going to go the way you want it to go, that there is danger lurking everywhere.
And while his voice may be weak as a result of his injuries, one thing is clear. He's grateful to be alive.
Just want everybody to know that we're eternally grateful for all their support and their love.
Officer Newman tells me as he looks ahead, his journey with the Fort Smith Police Department is far from over. In Fort Smith, covering news where you live, Jada Daniels, 5 News.
As far as Officer Newman's recovery is concerned, he is still actively in physical therapy. Well, the candidates to be the next Fort Smith City Administrator are holding a meet and greet right now, in fact, at the Riverfront Pavilion downtown. Robert Civic and Jeff Dingman are answering questions from residents about their plans for the city of Fort Smith. Civic right now works as an administrator in Whitefield County, Georgia. Dingman has served as acting Fort Smith City Administrator since the position was vacated following the firing of Carl Gefkin. The Board of Directors are scheduled to interview candidates tomorrow with an executive session planned next week to possibly discuss a hiring.
Well, the city of Rogers cut the ribbon today on a new bikeway connecting downtown and midtown. The new bike trail was part of a larger construction project that also involved repaving Poplar Street. It's one of the city's busiest east-west corridors, and city leaders say the project improves both safety and connectivity for people who like to use the city's trails.
You know, this connection point through this project is a vital connection to Uptown Rogers. When you think of the cycling community or the running community, folks that walk for recreation, they've not had a great connection point other than the far south and the far north border. So this is kind of a midtown connection.
The new Poplar Parkway bike trail expands Rogers' total trail network to 109 miles. The Madison County Sheriff has announced plans to resign before the end of his term. Sheriff Ronnie Boyd says he will step down 1 week from tomorrow. In his resignation letter, Boyd said it was an honor to serve, but he felt his continued presence could impede the progress of the sheriff's office. No details about an interim sheriff were announced, but the next full-time sheriff will be elected in November. Chuck Melton won the Republican primary and is currently the only candidate on the ballot.
University of Arkansas Fort Smith announcing the death of a longtime professor and administrator. Dr. Sandy Sanders spent nearly 3 decades working at the school. She started while it was still West Star Community College and was there for its expansion and transition to West Star College and eventually University of Arkansas Fort Smith. During her time, she served as provost, vice chancellor, chief of staff, and interim chancellor.